is Nikki Jordan from Bankmecu. Nikki, sorry, I don't actually have your official title in front of me.
Oh, that's okay. It's Manager Development Sustainability. So I actually sit within a newly formed corporate affairs team now, and we're responsible for driving responsible banking practices across our bank.
Well, I'm really interested in hearing about this, and the students that we have, they're all doing an executive MBA, so they're fairly senior people. They come from all over Australia and beyond. We have students as far away as PNG and Fiji. I think we have one in Europe as well. So we're looking at corporate social responsibility in this really odd way because, you know, we're never in the same room. We connect completely virtually all the time. And so, they're sick of me. It's time to have some other faces in the room, I think. But we're right at the end. So the subject that we're looking at is corporate social responsibility in the law. And we've been exploring how Australian law works in a commercial sense within the context of corporate social responsibility. And so we're really at the business end of the course now, and we're asking ourselves the question, is corporate social responsibility even relevant anymore? Is it an important function within an organisation, or should organisations have some kind of holistic approach to ongoing sustainability that moves beyond what was traditionally known as corporate social responsibility? Or was Friedman right from the very beginning? Is it the social responsibility of corporations to make a profit? And so you're sitting within corporate affairs, but when we look at the website for your bank, everything's focused on sustainability and responsibility. How does that all work?
That's right. So, I guess the terms, CSR, sustainability can be used interchangeably. For us, basically, we're a customer-owned bank, so our customers are our shareholders, so we're looking after the interests of our customers who bank with us. We've got a very simple business model, and we want to remain relevant to our customers and the issues that are important to them. And issues that are important to them are social issues, they are the environmental issues. They are, we operate within an external environment. If we don't look after our external environment, then we're not going to be sustainable into the long term either. So we have to sort of think about, the inputs that are going into our business and what we're generating, so that we're creating value for society. We're not just creating something that, people don't need or use. And value for us is not just about financial value, it's about, value including environmental and social value as well. So creating sort of a sense of a true prosperity, which is not just financial. It's about health, wealth, and happiness, basically. And the environment underpins health. I don't know. I just sort of rambled then. I'm not sure whether I articulated that clearly.
I think I want to come back in particular, and the reason that I contacted you was seeing the work that you're doing with the Land Bank in Northern Victoria, and if you don't mind, I'd really like you to explain that project to the group. But just before we get there, I'm really interested in how you're looking at stakeholders. So you say your customers and your shareholders are the same people, so you've aligned stakeholders in that way. Has that been since the beginning? How did that come about?
Yeah, so we've always been had a mutual or cooperative business model. So we were formerly called a credit union. We've now become a bank. We're a cooperative bank or a mutual bank, and we always have our customers all have one share, one equal say. So when you open up an account with us, you take out a $5 share, you have one equal say. So listening to our customers, our key stakeholder, has been very important throughout our entire history, and it's becoming. I think because we're becoming more savvy with how we can engage with our customers, we are actually engaging a lot more with them. So, for example, last year we held a series of our say platforms, which basically went out to our customers online and asked them a series of questions throughout the year. So there were 4 questions. What is your ideal bank? What would you like us to do? What would you like us to invest our community investment dollars into? Those sorts of things. And we received a really high level of engagement. So customers came in and suggested their ideas, and then people could vote on the top ideas. So we got a really good sense of what our customers were interested in through sort of, and we do it through those sorts of platforms. So we really do try and listen to our customers, and themes that were really important to our customers through all of our stakeholder engagement activities last year. Renewable energy was a really, really important one, and so we're trying to develop an approach to how we, whether or not we invest in renewable energy projects, or how we go about what our position is on renewable energy. Because internally we're doing things like we're carbon neutral and we're trying to reduce our electricity consumption, but what other role can we play as a financial institution to help drive investment into renewable energy? So they're sort of things that we consider. So we're looking at that. So we listen and we try and, address those issues that are important. So yes, our stakeholders, our customers, we have always listened to them, but I think we're becoming better at listening to them and responding, being able to respond.
Okay.
But yeah, very important to us.
And so, and with the customer also being the shareholder, so they're presumably turning up at annual general meetings and holding the board to account and otherwise, or how much engagement do you get from that point of view?
We get, I think, about 2% of our customers actually participated in the AGM process last year. We've only actually just started tracking engagement at our AGM in terms of voting. So that'll be an interesting one to progress over time, because we would like to increase that percentage.
Yeah.
We would like to engage more people, because everyone has one equal say and one, because they have one share. But it is something that we would like. We'd probably get more engagement online, like in our social media, through Facebook. So if something changes and we post it on Facebook, for example, a fee change or something, we do get a lot of engagement that way.
Yeah.
So we do get a lot of comments through. We've got a platform called Central, which is our stakeholder customer engagement platform. So we post stories about all sorts of things. So about not just banking stories, but stories about things that are relevant in terms of the environment or social issues that are topical at the moment. And so we do get a lot of engagement and comments from customers that way too. So that's a way that we try and engage with them. But we're ever trying to increase the way that we can engage with our customer.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting from, and my background is as a lawyer anyway, from a commercial and equities background, and that whole question of what really matters to shareholders is sort of always forefront in my mind. And so I find it really interesting when your shareholders and your customers are the same people. Yeah. I wonder, I do wonder how much they really care about shareholding at the end of the day, and whether we tie ourselves up in knots about it if the shareholding is not directly related to profit taking. But even when it is... Our business model
is very interesting, because we're a bank and we need to make a profit for our customers. So of course our customers, they don't just want the environmental and social benefit. We need to make a profit and return, benefits to them in the form of better interest rates and fees. But at the same time, we don't want to, and they don't want us to do it at the expense of the environment. But it really is a balancing act, because we do have customers on all levels of the spectrum. So those that are more interested in a financial return, and then those that are more interested in an environmental or social return. So it is a balancing act, and I don't know that we're doing it 100%, the best that we can, but it's one of those things we try and balance, because we do recognise that we do need to support the environment that supports us, and the social society that supports us as well. Because if society isn't prosperous and the environment isn't well equipped to support our existence, then we're not going to, I think, as I said before, exist and be sustainable into the future.
Yeah, and especially if you're looking at a future beyond the short term. So, which brings me actually to the land bank project. I will actually, with your permission, I need to ask for that. Put a link to your website, the video about the Northern Victoria project in the class materials. But could you tell us a little bit about how that came about and what that involves?
Sure. So I guess that's a perfect example of what we're trying to do and how we're looking at the way that we approach banking. So back in 2005, we wanted to become, more relevant and differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. And at that point in time, the United Nations Environment Program Finance Initiative, started gaining momentum. So we signed up to that, and that basically required that we incorporate environmental considerations into our business practices. So that sort of kicked off, our thinking in this area. So we started looking at ourselves, our business, to try and work out, okay, so where are our impacts and how can we minimise those? So we're a bank. We started to do work internally around, energy, water, waste and transport and those sorts of things. So we started looking at our internal, impacts, but we also wanted to understand what, the impacts of our products and services were that we provided to people. So we recognised, there were impacts in that, from that side of our business. So, we're basically savings and loans. So we take customer deposits and use those customer deposits to provide people with loans. We looked at our loan portfolio. We predominantly provide home loans and car loans. So cars, that was sort of the easy one that kicked off our thinking. Cars emit CO2 emissions. We provide finance to people that purchase cars. To try and encourage people to make a more environmentally friendly choice in the first place, we provide a lower interest rate the more energy efficient your car is. So we recognise people are going to buy cars, people are going to come to us to finance them because we are a bank.
Yeah. How
can we encourage people to make a better choice? We can reduce the interest rate the more energy efficient the car is, and then we can also offset the CO2 emissions of that car for the life of the loan. So we worked with a partner at that time, Greenfleet, and we paid them to plant trees on our behalf to offset CO2 emissions of the cars on our loan portfolio. And then we've got a lot of community sector organisations that bank with us, and through talking to our different community organisations and just people sort of in the space that could help inform us, we came up with the idea of the Conservation Land Bank project. So basically the idea behind that is to run our own tree planting program. So we're a bank, we come up with a land bank, so we're banking land, and we're working with community organisations. So in Victoria there's an organisation called Trust for Nature who work to protect areas of high biodiversity value on private land. So basically how it works is they'll work with landholders to place a protection on the title, which is a conservation covenant, which will mean that the property can't be developed in perpetuity. So we've been working with Trust for Nature to identify properties with really high biodiversity value, but that can also be revegetated for the carbon offsets for our car loans. So the other side, I just started talking about the biodiversity offsetting. So we also, one of our other products that we finance is people use our money to build a new home, so that we recognise there's land cleared to make way for that new home and that there's habitat loss. So that was sort of, our Conservation Land Bank works twofold. So we also offset the biodiversity that's lost through financing the construction of that new home. So, within the land bank we identify properties with high biodiversity value, with areas that can also be revegetated. Then we place the protection covenant on the land to protect it in perpetuity. So we're offsetting basically the impacts of our financial products as best that we can at the moment. And we've purchased about 1,000 hectares in the West Wimmera. So we've got some community organisations up there busy planting away and doing fencing and, pest control and all those sorts of things. We're bankers at the end of the day, so we've got...
Nobody's asking you to put your gumboots on. Not that you need gumboots in the Wimmera, but you know what I mean.
I had one of my colleagues went out there with high heels on the day. That caused a few laughs amongst the local people.
Yeah, I spent a few Easters up at Patchywallock, and which is, if you draw a line south of Mildura and west of Swan Hill, it's sort of in the middle of nowhere there in that. Yeah. And I just think heels are not really going to help you, no matter how socially aware or otherwise you are.
No, one of the guys from Trust for Nature was really excited and wanting to show her all these different species, and was, making her come over, checking into the bushes, getting high heels on. I didn't even notice. So. Anyway, but so that's just that project's just sort of a perfect example of how we've been looking at what we offer as an organisation, how we can minimise the impact of what we offer. And then there's been lots of flow-on benefits from that too. So we have, we do work around, like internally, we have a staff recognition program. So we take a group of staff up to the land bank to do some tree planting every year. So that helps build, the culture within the business. And so that's sort of that project in a nutshell.
Well, that was going to be my last question, because actually I said I'd ask for 15 minutes and we're sitting at 16, so tell me to go away. The last question I wanted to ask you was around culture. And obviously, if we talk about banks, if you use the words bank and ethics in a sentence at the moment, you're rarely talking about the good guys. There have been such amazing collapses over the last 20 years, but the last 5 in particular. There are a few amazing stories of people who have really maintained their own ethical points of view, and we'll talk about some of those in the class context. But there are also just many stories about leadership that really was very much profit-driven at the expense of what we might think of as traditional ethical values. How does your bank approach ethics, and from a cultural point of view?
I guess another key difference worth mentioning is our executives don't get paid bonuses, so they get paid a salary to do their job, which is to look after the interests of the customers and their prosperity.
Actually, one of the case studies we've looked at was the whole AIG bonuses and then the payment of the bonuses after the GFC and the bailout. So, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I think it's an important point. And our board don't get paid, excessive bonuses as well. They're charged with the responsibility of looking after our customer funds, basically. And I guess our business model is very simple. So we're taking in, customer deposits. We're a cooperative business model. So cooperatives, have they're sort of, stemmed from society, kind of, they're cooperative. It's just, it's a different way of thinking, I think. I'm not sure what else to add.
And in your own background, have you always been at the bank, or have you come out of other finance institutions, or?
No, my background's in social sciences and in environmental studies.
Oh, okay.
So, this is the first bank that I've ever worked in. So I've worked for government and I've worked for like a sustainability consultancy before. So this is the first time I've worked in a bank. But and I think I'm pretty lucky to have worked in this one because the culture is very good, and people, I think throughout from board level to to the people on the front line, there is a real commitment to values, not just the value side of things, but also the values behind what we're trying to achieve, and that's basically prosperity for our customers, and prosperity in the sense of not just financial prosperity, but the health, wealth, and happiness type.
Well, I guess that, and I guess that goes to the number of my question from your point of view, at least. How much of that is part of the culture that's embedded in the organisation from the bottom up, or is it from the top down?
It's, both. We've got a really committed board, which I think which makes my job a lot easier. The board get it. We've been going through a process, so I've been with the organisation for 7 years. Even when I started, the board and the board's changed, the composition's changed quite a bit because we've been going through a process of renewal to bring in some more diversity and fresh skill sets and whatnot. But even back then, we had a CEO and a board that got it, and now I think we should get it even more. But they're being more savvy in the way that we're thinking about things, and we've got a chair who is. She's really interested in impact investment and the work of the IRC Integrated Reporting Council, the Integrated Reporting Framework, and those kinds of ways of thinking about things. So,
and your chair
there's a genuine interest.
Your chair comes from a Big Four bank background too, doesn't she?
Yeah, it does. Which is interesting. So, I think people join bank chemists. They're not in it for the big bucks. It's more about giving back some kind of value to society, I think, in a way. Like it's about doing the right thing and creating something that's, that's good.
You're demonstrating that it is embedded in your culture. Look, I won't take any more of your time. I'm really conscious that I've overstepped the mark. I'm sure on behalf of everybody that in the group, they will thank you for your time. It's been invaluable, and it's been very nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,